We are in a random hotel elevator lobby with the one and only Dominick Cruz. We just bumped into him here. And we're like, can we go live with you on Facebook? So welcome.
Glad to be here in this maroon room.
You know, it's going to be funny when someone comes out here to like get on the elevator to go down. And everybody goes, is that Dominick Cruz talking? Dominick Cruz, so you're out here obviously for UFC 209. A different kind of job for you, calling fights with your pal Joe Rogan. First time with Rogan. Are you looking forward to that? Second time with Rogan.
Rogan, second time with Anik.
Okay.
So I'm good.
Yeah.
Me and Anik have worked together for a long time. Joe, I've had one show with him. I went in there, covered like 3 fights, and each fight finished in like 30 seconds. So I got like one rep of like a total of 2 minutes doing that job. But then I did another one with Anik in Brazil. That one was tough because, I mean, you try to say some Portuguese names a couple times. It's pretty impossible. Not to mention that those guys are all the way out there in Brazil, so they don't get quite as much coverage sometimes as they do in the Brazilian media. So I had to do 10 times the research. But this one everybody knows everybody on the card. It's UFC 209. It's a bunch of studs filling it up. It was a lot of fun preparing for this one.
Can we get into the fights in just a minute and talk about you for a second first? You were on Rogan's podcast last week, and it was a fascinating listen, especially the last 10 minutes or so when you talked about the cut. But even the beginning of it, I mean, so much respect for the way you handled yourself after 207. But tell me about the cut and how it changed your strategy in the fight.
Yeah, well, at a certain point in a fighter's mind, you always do come to the point, all right, what happens if things don't go as planned? And for me, I always plan ahead. So while I'm prepared for best case scenario to go in there and win like I've done so many times, I'm also prepared for plan B and plan C. Well, I hit plan C on this one, and I got cut in the beginning of the third round. He just threw a random kick, and I was trying to time a takedown, and it landed right on my eyebrow. I think it was that got me. But when that cut happened, I wasn't rocked or anything. I knew that I was bleeding, and when I was fighting, I was like, whatever, it's a little bit of blood. Who cares? Everybody bleeds, It didn't bother me, but I knew that I had to go for the kill because I didn't know if once a doctor comes in, they're looking at you like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Get out of my face. I'm in a fight, man. Like, get out of here. I'm bleeding. What do you expect? And they're playing with it, and they're like looking at each other. And I'm like, man, I cannot let these doctors.
What's that like as a fighter? Where you're just like,
it feels like right now, like I'm being cornered in front of some elevators with a microphone shoved in my face. This is how it feels. Yeah, you're in the middle of a fight, and you're like, man, get your hands out of my face. Get away from me. Like, let me just go finish this. That's how it feels. Yeah. But when they're touching it and they're looking at you, you're like, all right. I don't know. I can't see it, but I know that there's a cut, and it's obviously there, so I need to just go for the kill.
Did you hear the crowd gasp, though? They showed it on the Jumbotron. I was sitting there in the fourth row.
You hear all that. You hear the crowd's response, but, I mean, what does that really mean in the grand scheme of things for a guy like me? Nothing. I know that it's bad. I can feel it. I can see the doctors. That's what's more important to me than the fans making their assessment of the situation from the outside drinking beers, But when I'm there, it's like I need to cut this guy. I need to put him on his butt, or I need to cut him, or I need to just drop him, take him down, or cut him.
Those your strategy changes, right?
Yeah, right off the bat, when you get cut, no longer am I trying to be slick and move out of like I have two choices. I can either be slick and not get hit and protect the eye and play safe, or I can just go for it. And for me, I'm the type that I just want to just go for it. So I went for it, and that created some openings for him in the third or towards the end of the third round, but more in the fourth. And then I just went for reckless abandonment in the fourth round. That gave him some openings to put me on my butt a couple times. And then I had to survive that and come back and win the fifth. So that was just, I think I won 2 out of the 5 rounds in that fight, I would say. So I'll give him 3 fights. But the way I look at this whole situation is different than everybody else. This is a 15-round marathon. This is not a 5-round fight. And I could more than likely face this guy another 2 times, especially after I beat him when we rematch. Or I could fight TJ. I don't know who's going to win between him and TJ. But the way I see it is with him or TJ is this is a 10 to 15-round marathon. This is not a 5-round fight. So adjustments are going to be made. Things are going to change. And the fight can turn out different every single time.
Mikey's asking about the rematch and when it might be.
Yeah, we don't know when a rematch is going to happen, guys. I mean, that hasn't been set yet. Right now, my feet are healing up. Everything's healthy except my plantar fascia tendonitis, which ironically, it's just so stupid because it's one of those things where I could still train every day. I could still do stuff, but the only way your feet heal is to literally sit on them and do nothing. It's like, I can't do that. Like, I'm a professional athlete. Like, I can't just sit down and be like, all right, guys, like, have a good day training while I sit here and rest my feet. It's like, no. So I tape them up and I keep going and I'm doing massages on them and I'm, doing the best I can, but rest is the key for me right now. So I think I'm just going to kind of really heal up. It feels good to train right now to just improve and not to train to prepare for an individual. That's a big change for me since coming back from all these ACL injuries. I come straight back, all right, you're preparing for Dillashaw. Okay, you're preparing for Faber. Okay, you're preparing for Cody. That's 3 title fights in 1 year. No time to really fill in the gaps of what was missing after my surgeries. Zero excuses. I'm just explaining that this is real.
You had no time.
Yeah, I came right after. I had 9 months of rehab, and then they asked me for the Dillashaw fight. So I didn't
ease yourself back in.
Yeah, I didn't ease myself back in. So all this being said, these are all things that I get now. Like I don't. Those guys are fighting. Those guys are doing their thing. It's nice to be able to sit on the outside, train every single day, and just fill in gaps and do what I want to do and focus on technique and throw kicks and throw kicking combinations and box combinations, work on my jiu-jitsu, work with this guy, work with that guy, fill in some gaps, heal my body, and then get back in there and give it another shot.
You lose the fight, but then after the fight you win by going, I mean this is the utmost respect. You put on the suit and you go to the press conference where a lot of fighters could have said, you know what, I'm going to leave. And you stood up like a man, and I remember watching that thinking like, this guy just put on a master class of how to handle a loss on such a stage. Where did that come from, and was it just a natural thing for you to do? Because I think fans out there are like, look at that guy.
It's hard. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that was what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that I've probably talked more about how I handled myself after a loss than any win I've ever had in my whole career. Mm-hmm. And it blows my mind. It's like, I can't believe that.
I think it's just something about people. Like, we all suffer losses, and we don't, some people hide, and you see someone on this huge stage and you handle it, and you see, like, I had a friend of mine said, like, that inspired me to be better at stuff that I do. Yeah. And like, you inspire people by the way you act in adversity.
That's what I feel like this position is about. I'm not always perfect. I'm not always that guy, but in loss, it's like the way that I view things going into fights to kind of relieve the pressure of winning or losing is to understand that winning and losing shouldn't change who you are or how or why you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Because that's not really, winning isn't the only reason I'm doing it. Losing, unfortunately, while it's a risk and I don't want it, that's where you learn the most. Yeah. But it's your choice. You can actually also learn nothing, which goes right back to probably 95% of the individuals that I've fought in my career that make an excuse after I put a master class on them. I was so tired of hearing it. Mm-hmm. So tired of hearing fight after being champion for 8 years that every single person I beat had an excuse. Oh, I was a little off. Oh, he did this, and I just, I felt a little rough. My thumb was up when I was knocked out on the floor, though, so they shouldn't have stopped it. It's like, get out of here. Yeah. What are you talking about? You lost the fight. At the end of the fight, the judges scored the win to the other person. So no matter what excuse you say, no matter what.
Guy getting off an elevator.
What's up, man?
Right, Dominick Cruz.
Don't mind us. But no matter what you do, it's like I can't change the outcome of the scorecard. So me sitting up there going, it was hard. He cut me, but I was fine. And then he didn't really hurt me. I should have won. It's like, what? I mean, I'm not accepting what happened, the mistakes I made in there. I can't blame anybody else except myself. So at a certain point, you just got to bite the bullet. Yeah. Be a man about it. Quit making excuses, guys. If you're fighting and you're losing, suck it up. Stop being such a puss.
I think it spoke volumes, too, because there's another big fighter on your card that night who didn't come out to speak and instead just posts inspirational quotes on Instagram. And, to see you come out and handle yourself the way you did.
It's not easy. That wasn't easy for me. That was not easy for me. It's not something I wanted to do. But it's about doing the things you don't want to do that makes you the person that you say you are before you win. Mm-hmm. So you can be one person when you're winning. You can be this, you can say that, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah. But when you lose is when you really see the when you really see the true colors of a person is in a loss, when they're humbled. who is this person when they're not at their best. And I think that that's what's connected me with fans more than anything is I've been winning a long time, but I'm no different than when I lose. And that's something that I want to hold true to. I don't want to lose, but if I do, just know that it's not who I am. It doesn't have to be who you are. It doesn't ruin my legacy as a champion. It doesn't make me less of a champion. I'm still that. I still know who I am, and that's what this whole thing is about. Winning or losing does not decide how I view myself. Living my life and being happy with the person and the human that I am is what makes me happy. And then the loss just becomes a figment of your life, and so does a win.
This is very interesting thing for everybody, but win and a loss. So I was asking fighters today at Media Day, and this is totally different from anything we've been talking about. Mighty Mouse at the Super Bowl told me he could beat me in 90 seconds. You know, UFC, MMA rules. But he would take his time. So he'd start with a liver shot, and then he'd throw some more rights. And like he would, you know how he is, and he would just take me down. How long do you think it would take for you to beat me in a fight in the octagon? I'm 6'3", 235. For training, I don't do sit-ups, but I do spin class.
Spin. So the legs are strong.
Kind of.
I could probably do it in a minute.
Minute?
Yeah, I'd say 60 seconds. He's got 90, but he's got to crawl all the way from your kneecaps all the way up to your big head.
Yeah.
I, on the
Not a
other
big
hand,
head.
am already right here.
Yeah.
See, so I get to start right at the midsection. I have a quarter of the time. That cuts about 30 seconds off. And really all I got to do is get you to think that you're in a good position and then choke you.
Choke me. Jesus, these guys are so violent.